Won't you please come join me for some midnight therapy?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Midnight Therapy. I'm your host, Kat Matthews, trying very hard to fit everything in to my ever-changing, never-ending schedule. Very busy as always. Just reflected a little, and I can't believe it's already November. October came and went. October was one of the busiest months of my life. That's why I got so backed up on the pod, so sorry about that. But we're back on our schedule this weekend. Very busy for me already. A lot of traveling. I'm exhausted now. It's Saturday night. But I got a second win. I said, let's do it. We got to do it. The people are depending on me to do this. It's my duty. And, keeps me sane to a degree to do this podcast for you every week or so. So thank you for giving me sanity by being my viewers. I appreciate it. But yeah, busy weekend. We went to go see AJ, my brother-in-law, and his new baby. Cute little baby. Congrats to them. He lives in DC, Pretty long car ride. Long weekend. Stopped at McDonald's. Wanted to rant a little bit about McDonald's, not to harp on them, but society is over. It is over, and McDonald's is an indicator of that. We went in, and it was only those kiosks where you have to order yourself. And back in what I call the day, you would tell the employee what you wanted, and they would use the kiosk that which they were trained on. The kiosk is part of the training. When you go to work at a McDonald's and you're at the register, you learn the kiosk. And when someone says, I want the quarter pounder meal, you hit the button that's the picture of the quarter pounder meal. Now they're like, well, it's hard to get people to do that, so we're just going to make the customers do that. Soon, you will talk to no one at a McDonald's, and maybe no one will even work at a McDonald's. It'll all be automated robots that make you a perfect quarter pounder. And then the little door opens in the brick wall, and there it is. And it'll say, order 73. And if there's any commotion or anything, a security system will alert the authorities, and they will come. Or the manager might show up if needed. I mean, we're talking if there's even public restrooms. I don't even know. I don't even know if there's a reason you have to go to a McDonald's anymore. There might be like a little breezeway, little area where you can order and the window will open. Otherwise, it'll just be open for the DoorDash and Grubhub people to pick up. If there's even people doing that, it might just be self-driving cars. Anyways, I was pretty annoyed. I couldn't figure out the kiosk, and I'm a pretty young person. So it's not just the boomers. It's not that I couldn't figure it out. It's just it was limited. I wanted the Mac sauce on the McDouble because I call that a poor man's Big Mac. And I don't need that middle bun that the traditional Big Mac comes with. You know this. I've said this before. The lettuce is kind of useless as well. So I find that the McDouble with the Mac sauce is actually a superior Big Mac than the actual Big Mac. But would you know that you couldn't put the Big Mac sauce on the McDouble? That option was not available on the kiosk. Made me a little annoyed. Stand for something or fall for anything. You have to believe in something, even if it is something as frivolous as a sandwich. But yeah, one of the many things that annoyed me, Hulu also annoyed me. They don't want you to share addresses anymore, like Netflix. They're like checking your location, and it doesn't look like this is your house, and you can't share your password even though you pay for it. It's getting crazy and invasive. The subscription lifestyle has worked its way into every single aspect of society, even car washes. Like now you can go to an automated car wash on a subscription service. Like everything is ridiculous. It's like, well, if you want the double deluxe bubble blast clear coat package at the car wash, you could pay $8.99 a month. What am I saying? That would be kind of nice. It's like $40 a month. And people do it and then they forget they have it, and then you need an app to remind you that you're paying for a car wash every month, and that's why you have 8 credit cards maxed out. So yeah, I'm a little annoyed. There was a Black Mirror episode about this where like the subscription keeps changing and the terms change and the conditions and the price, and now that's how society works. Nobody really buys anything anymore. It's all rented. You used to own the copy of Beauty and the Beast. It was the VHS tape you owned. You bought it once and that was it. Watch as much as you want. Same with the Blu-ray and the CD. But now it's like you could rent this as many times as you want as long as you pay the streaming service, and then your kids get addicted to the movies and you love them, and that's your babysitter. And then one day the price triples and you go, well, what do I do? Pay more. That's what you do. And a few will boycott for a bit, but then they'll pay. Wait until it's like every aspect of your identity. Like wait till the football games or something. They're only offered on certain packages, or like it's already kind of like that now, but it'll be like, oh, this game you can only watch on Netflix. And it's like, but I need to see that game. Or the Super Bowl. You have to pay for the Super Bowl. And then there's higher tiers, like less commercials, better shots, maybe hot mics of the players. Like you could pay for these packages, and people will. People usually are agreeable, and the terms get worse and they still agree to it, which sucks. But yeah, so sandwiches and streaming services got me a little mad this weekend. I wanted to rant about them a little bit, and I did. Also, skunks. October was busy for many reasons. One of them was our dogs got sprayed by a skunk. And when you really think about it, it's such a crazy thing that there's this animal that sprays a very stinky spray out of its butt. And it's a survival mech. It's a defense mechanism, we know, but what a very weird thing if you really sit back and think about it. And I remember this night, I was so exhausted. I fell asleep on the couch. You ever fall asleep on the couch and it feels so good, you don't want to get up, but it's like 1 a.m. or whatever. It's a weekend. Who cares? 1:30 in the morning. It was 1:30 in the morning, and Christy's like, well, we got to let the dogs out. And I'm like, ugh, because it's 1:30 in the morning, and I go over and pee, and I'm peeing, and you never want to hear this. You never want to hear that noise where it's like frantic panic in Christy's voice. And I was like, what could this be? And then I smelt like this nerve agent, toxic fume take over my nostrils. Something I never smelled before. I thought it was like some type of chemical. I thought we were dying. I thought like mustard gas or something. I had no idea what it was. I thought we were dying. Like it was like a chemical under the sink smell. Like poison, toxic smell. Burnt my eyes instantly, like pepper sprayed. And I was leaking tears and my throat hurt. And it was like, I was like choking. My lungs were burning. Sure enough, it was just a skunk up close. The skunk had gotten both dogs, Tully and Gracie, and a little bit of Christy, but not bad. She was lucky enough to be able to take her clothing off in the middle of the night, but the dogs could not. They couldn't take their fur off, so they stunk for a very long time. And that was a horrible night till like 4 a.m, trying to clean them in the cold while the house smelled like a toxic chemical. Skunk smells. You smelled the skunk before, but up close, it's way more potent and different. It's horrendous. The dogs still stink a little, though. We were gone. We went to see, AJ and the baby this weekend, but when we came back, we forgot what the smell like, and then you come back in the house, you're like, oh, the dog still stinks. So that's annoying. So let's keep the list going. Skunks, sandwiches from McDonald's, and subscription services are annoying me recently. Brighter news on the brighter side. Good news. I'm starting a holiday, and this is hard. See, not a lot of people do these things. I do these things. Starting a holiday, someone's got to do it, as they say. Somebody's got to do this. How did traditions start? I'm starting them. I'm going to be doing a Jessup holiday. This is not the race of the Saints or Ubaldo. This is a new one. This is a Jessup Groundhog Day that I'm the president of. I started this. It's a new holiday, and it's a little different. It's like Groundhog Day, except it's not in Puxatawny, Pennsylvania. It's in Jessup, Pennsylvania, historic downtown Jessup, Pennsylvania. And it's not a groundhog, it's a ferret. This is real. His name is Jessup Jimmy. We have founding fathers of the event, and there's still some spots open. So if you'd like to be a founding father of the event, it's going to really pick up, I'd say, in about 2 or 3 years. It's going to be at Station Park, early in the morning, at dawn. We're all going to wear top hats. We're going to read scrolls. We're going to make rather merry, and we're going to start a tradition here. Now, we don't know anyone that could handle a groundhog or a gopher or a beaver or all the many various names that animal has. We don't have anyone that could handle that animal, but we do have someone that handles a ferret. Jim, that's you. Jim may be on the podcast soon. Jim is a listener. He's a fan of the show. But that holiday is starting. If you'd like to be a part of Jessup Groundhog Day, let me know. Early. You could get in on the ground floor, is all I'm saying. So that's exciting. Let's get into it. I want this episode to be quick. I don't have time. I'm very tired. Very tired tonight. And I don't want to sound like a broken record, so I'm just going to go over this news cycle with a twist, which is my opinion. Zoran Mamdani won the race in New York City. Is that shocking? No. I told you he was going to win last week. Is that good? Is that bad? I don't know. Who really cares unless you live in New York? I mean, I understand the arguments on both sides. I know what it looks like. But who really cares? I think this is all hyped up, as always. I think it was exciting, and people are going to forget about this in about a week. Maybe not even. Long story short, it appears to be like some type of blue wave that this past election this year was all Democrat victories. That's true to an extent. I will say it was not unifying at all, especially Mamdani. He did not seem unifying in his speech. Did it feel disingenuous and forced and a little cringy? Yes. Calling out Trump directly? Yeah. Cringy. Very odd, but he won, of course. How could he not win? Let's just be honest. He offered free stuff to a financially struggling population, and he went against Andrew Cuomo, which, it goes without being said, Andrew Cuomo is done politically after COVID and the allegations, and he's just from a different generation. That's just how it is, and he is not the future. And that dynasty, whatever you want to call that, whatever it was, even his brother, it's over. You had your day, you had your time, had your glory. It's kind of over. What's funny is, let's keep adding to this, the grift, as I call it. You have Donald Trump endorsing Cuomo in that race, which is just laughable. If you remember what those two went through. See, they want you to just forget. But if you remember Trump and Cuomo, they really didn't get along, to say the least. But it's funny, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So Trump endorsed him. Didn't really pan out, though. Lost pretty bad. Mamdani wins. A lot of fake promises. He's already putting out new little videos on social media saying, don't stop sending money. We need more money. Please keep donating. I don't have to explain this to you. There's a lot of naive people and a lot of dreamers, I give them credit. Like, what's the old saying? Show me a young man that isn't a liberal, and I'll show you a man with no heart. Show me an old man that isn't conservative, and show me a man that has no brain. These are oversimplified sayings, but the younger people that voted for Mamdani, 18 to 30 some, whatever, people that didn't live in the city a long time also, I don't think they understand what New York is and why it is what it is. It is capitalistic in its core. It is a business city. It is a free market capitalistic city, the biggest city of its kind, and the flagship of all major cities. That is what cities aspire to be. It has never been a place of fairness. It has never been a place of community values. It was dog eat dog. Of course, it was a melting pot of people, but it was always surviving and knowing that you might not make it here and knowing that it was a big risk to make it there. Not like everyone's welcome. It was you try to be here, you got to walk the walk, talk the talk. This is New York City. And it was never like super friendly. It was always the city, it was people are busy and their heads are down, they're not talking, they're getting to work, and to say like, well, now it's going to be some utopia with free buses and free grocery stores and no cops and social workers, and we're going to abolish private property and give free housing to everyone. I just, if you don't understand why that is not going to happen, I don't know what to tell you. I think you lack fundamental foundation of life itself, and especially how society works. Things cost money. The money must come from somewhere. If you take from the rich and give to the poor, and the rich are no longer rich, then who do you take from? You know what I'm saying? Not to say that the rich aren't exuberantly rich. They are. But before they get taxed enough where it makes a difference, they're going to leave New York City. And that's what I truly think. I think you're going to see a mass exodus of these billionaires leaving New York City. And they'll find some other city to do it to. I don't know. We live in a different world now. You don't really need a brick and mortar anymore to have an empire of money. So I think they'll figure it out, but I don't think they're going to stick around and get most of their money taken. I don't. And I think there's going to be negative repercussions to these policies if they're enacted, but I don't think they're going to be enacted. But it is odd. Zohar Mamdani he's a Muslim, but he has a lot of values that aren't Muslim. You know what I'm saying? He wants to legalize prostitution, and you know what I'm saying? Like, this is a little odd. I don't know. A lot of, I don't know. I really don't know what to say. He's socialistic in a sense, which if you look into it, you'll understand why this is odd. Some weird stuff with his family too. I guess his mom, I don't know, worked for Disney. He was in some movie. I don't know. I think a lot of it's just an act, and people love the play and they vote with their emotions, and it's very much class president, sixth grade. When I think of that New York mayor race, it was Mamdani ran on everyone's going to get 5 chocolate milks and recess all day and no more math. And everyone's like, yeah, this guy's the best. But then, like, the school just gets shut down because no one's learning anything. And everyone's stealing the milks, and there's fights at recess because there's no teachers outside keeping order. Like, it is, it's kind of what I see. New York City will probably fall the way Rome fell. When you lose the values, you have all these people saying America has no values anyways, no culture. So if the youth starts believing that, and there really is no culture, and they're convinced there was never a culture of America, then another culture is going to replace it, whether you like it or not. If people, put down their sword and their shield and say, "All right, I don't stand for anything really. I'll follow you," then that culture is going to take over. And if you start believing that New York was never a culture of a land of opportunity and risk and the high possibility of failure and free market and all the things the Big Apple was supposed to represent, if you don't believe that was ever a thing, then another culture and another thing is going to replace that, and you might not really be an integral part of it. You need to understand that. Anywho, the longest government shutdown in United States history is still going on. This is a problem where the government, a lot of people depended on the government for a lot of, many aspects of their life. And I think that's a problem when you depend on the government too much. If the government lets you down, which they tend to do, and they're showing you right now they can do that, then things get tough. Things get really tough. These are the people we elect to make sure things like this don't happen, and they happen. Not really great. I mean, the Democrats won a lot of these elections, so maybe now the government will open up again. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe it was a stunt. Maybe it isn't a stunt. I don't know what to do. People need health care. That's kind of, from what I gathered, the big issue here is Trump doesn't want to grant those tax credits for health care. And without them, I guess the rates would triple. And this is where it becomes an issue when you have the debate of, do people need affordable health care? And then in the same world, in the same planet, you have Elon Musk becoming the first trillionaire. Where it's like, well, do you really need health care? And then also he's dancing with a robot on stage as he collects $1 trillion payout from Tesla. And then he goes on Rogan, go watch this, and he's like, the RoboCop scenario of AI, it could happen. There's a chance it could happen, and whatever. And AI and big tech and everything is going to probably replace most things. He's telling Rogan, like, most jobs are going to be replaced, and that's just how it is, And every generation. Too bad this is very different. Like, no one's talking about how this is different. I always say, like, the horseshoe maker and his family, they've been doing that. They've been shoeing horses for 300 years. And then the automobile comes out and they're all out of work. Like, I get that that's the natural course of society. Like, things evolve and you must be adaptive. You must move on if you want to survive. You must adapt. But AI is not something you just adapt to. It's not like, oh, you should adapt to the AI. No, like, there's no adapting to this. It's going to replace you, and that's it in every aspect of your life. And then him and Joe Rogan are laughing about this, and I love Joe Rogan, of course, no disrespect, but didn't really even press him about the complete catastrophe Doge was with Trump and what happened there. Like, why? I'd be like, what the hell happened there? You guys are best friends, and now you hate each other, supposedly, and why? And did anything come out of it? And did the American people's lives get any better because of that corruption you exposed? And the answer is no. So they just go on with the charades, like, hey, look, another robot, and it just becomes a trillionaire, and we laugh and we look at stories about him, and our lives have still haven't gotten any better. That's what's very interesting. This is around the world, just so you know. Like, this is not me. This is not like a younger American. Like, I just saw this pretty sad story about that 100-year-old World War II vet. You had to see this. He was a British guy. Alec Penstone, I believe his name is. Sorry if I got that wrong, but he's on this TV show. It's like a Good Morning America type show, and he's like, this wasn't worth it. He's like, my service was not worth it. And he's like, the UK is less free now than it was when when I served. Like, that says a lot. The Greatest Generation veteran of World War II saying that is kind of crazy. Because over there, that's just a preview of what's coming here. With their policies, they'll arrest you for a social media post, even if you like the post or shared a meme. Like, they'll come to your house and arrest you. That's coming here too. Just get ready. And a lot of other things that's going on in Europe is coming here as well. So they're kind of like the preview, and then America, it's going to happen. But don't worry, we have a little time. But this big tech stuff, you have all these big tech people aligned with Trump, and this is not good. Like, Palantir is going to be a very invasive database on all humans, and you might want to be careful who's in charge of that. You might want to be careful who's in charge of AI, but no one seems to care. They want you to worry about other things, and they're not really worried about you having health care, but they are worried about funding these trillionaires to advance AI. For who? You think it's for us? Yeah. Okay. AI was supposed to be something that makes our lives easier so that we have more time to be creative and do the fun things and be around our family, and it would eliminate all the mundane drags of life. But no, now it's not helping us at all. It's actually just replacing us, and it's doing the fun stuff better than we could ever wish. For example, what's this fake AI woman's name? Zania Monet. Who comes up with this shit? Anyway, she's some R&B singer, but she's fake. She's AI. It's a prompt. It's on a free app, Sora or whatever. And someone made her. Someone made this thing. Zania Monet, R&B singer, got a $3 million record deal, not even a real person. Millions of streams, making millions of dollars, not even a real person. This is to suck the life and the soul out of all humans. To say, well, even the act of creation, which emulates something divine and something that a robot could never do. It's like, well, a robot could do now, so what of us? Like, that's where it's getting obscure, to say the least. Let's go even more obscure. Tom Brady, another multimillionaire. This really shows you the separation between us and them, the elite and the people on the world stage and the people not on the world stage. We can't get health care. But Tom Brady cloned his dog that died, and now he has his dog back. He has a cloned dog that he loves again now. It's a clone of his dog that passed away. Colossal Biosciences, his company he invested in, cloned his dog. Got $80,000. I don't know. They're cloning dogs. Meanwhile, your health care is about to triple and you'll never get a house. But look, Tom Brady has a cloned dog and Elon Musk is a trillionaire. How cool. He earned it. And you'll hear people say that. Be like, he earned it. Don't you understand? You have two things. You have people defending Elon Musk being a trillionaire. And then you have people voting for Zoran Mamdani saying groceries should be free, but no one in the middle. This is the problem. You have polar ends of the spectrum. You want to stay in the middle. I'm telling you guys, everyone thinks they want to be on the ends of the spectrum, but the war is hell. And everybody they romanticize it. And they think it's honorable to dig your boots in the ground and take a stand. And it's not how life works. And the arrogance of our egos tell us that, well, I'm right for certain, no budging, and it leads nowhere. I'm telling you, try to find some common ground or this is about to get ugly. That's what I truly believe. Speaking of nonsense, Sydney Sweeney, she was controversial a while back because she did a American Eagle jean advertisement that said Sydney Sweeney has great genes. And it's a pun because the genes are good quality. And then also she has good genetics because she's a very traditionally attractive, good looking woman. with good genetic features. And everybody went nuts because she happened to be a white, blonde hair, blue-eyed woman that's attractive to, I don't know, 99% of the globe would say she's attractive. Went nuts. Everybody went nuts on her, made her more popular, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, this cringe interviewer, I don't even know what podcast or show or whatever the hell this was, in this cringe, pseudo-intellectual, disingenuous fashion, as all these liberal podcasts are. They're all the same. This woman is smugly laughing and saying, well, remember that controversy, beating around the bush? She goes, I'd like to give you a chance to apologize for that, and you should condemn white superiority. And Sydney Sweeney, out of pocket, just looks at her and is like, if there's something that I want to apologize or talk about, I'll let you know. So she very fancily says no. She pulls a Barbosa. She's like, I'm disinclined to acquiesce to your request. It means no. That's what she did. And I don't know. That's kind of cool. Why should she apologize? She didn't do anything wrong. She was just born that way. Aren't we supposed to celebrate that? That this is how we were born? This is who we are? I don't know. Maybe only sometimes. Side note, she also wore this see-through blue dress the other day, and I don't know. That got the news attention. So it's all over the place. One day she's wearing a see-through dress, and people are like, wow, look at that. And then the other day she's pulling off these giant, culturally important moments. See how weird life is? Life is odd. Three-Eye Atlas, I don't know. It's going around the sun, I guess, coming back to Earth. Who knows? That one, if nothing comes of that one, then everything they feed you is just nonsense, which we knew, but that would mean a random space rock that probably wasn't even there got, I don't know, probably earned millions of dollars with clicks and articles and people talking about it. We just make anything up, I guess, but I don't know. Maybe something will come of it. Who knows? They're definitely priming us for something with the blue beam shit. The alien thing is coming. That arc is coming because we're so divided that we do need the great unifier. And blue beam will probably do that through, like I said, something divine or something extraterrestrial or alien or whatever. You know. But this funny documentary is coming out, high drama, History Channel, Ancient Aliens quality documentary called The Age of Disclosure, and all these politicians and higher ups are in it, and there's dramatic music. It's The Age of Disclosure, and they're priming you for aliens. It's planned programming. They're getting you ready for aliens one way or another. So get ready. Charlie Kirk, still in the news. Still very relevant, if not more relevant than ever. Let me just say, I talked a lot of crap on some people that were riding the coattails of Charlie Kirk, and I believe that's true. No offense, Candace Owens switched from the whole Macron's penis thing to Charlie Kirk was my best friend, and he texted me about his dreams often, and I know exactly what happened to him, and I'm going to get to the bottom of this like Scooby-Doo. You know that story. Not to say, even though that is a grift, not to say that there isn't numerous inconsistencies with the Charlie Kirk assassination. I don't get that confused. Just because people are riding the coattails of this doesn't mean that some of the things they're saying aren't true. I just want to make that clear. There's definitely something up with with that. George Zinn, the old guy that was screaming, "It was me! Shoot me! Shoot me!" And everybody looked at him like that. Of course, that's odd. Of course, that's a Patsy, Jack Ruby type situation because he went to jail right after. He had some inappropriate material on his phone. And after he screamed, "I did it, shoot me," he went to jail and tells no tales. I could go on forever. And I talked about this already. The rifle does not collapse. You don't put that in your leg and jump off a roof with the rifle like that. It's the cameras, his staff taking the cameras down, his staff on video saying he's dead before he was dead. No exit wound. Like, you could go on forever with how odd this is, but I'm not going to do that. Many people have already done this. You know all the inconsistencies, but the oddest thing to me is Erika Kirk going on this tour of interviews and rallies and award ceremonies, and it is just very odd to me. It just doesn't seem like the wife of someone who was assassinated. It doesn't seem like a normal way that a grieving widow would act. And I know, who am I to judge grief and who am I to judge? But this seems orchestrated and off. Like the fake tear thing she put in, and just the demeanor. Like, just forget the words, because you have ChatGPT that can write you a beautiful script and a eulogy and all that now. Just go by body language and gut intuition. That seems off. And you know it seems off. You might not want to say it, but it's off. They're selling merch and all these interviews and the things being said. It's very weird. I don't know. I'm just saying, it is off to me. Something's odd. Yeah, Kanye West, which is interesting. Bring up Candace Owens again. She always talks about how much she loves Kanye, and how much Charlie loved Kanye. And no offense, anybody that ever loved Kanye West, I was always like, what do you love? Like, they're like, the planned programming back in the day, you might remember this, is they would say Kanye West is a genius. You remember this? Before he went crazy, they used to say he's a genius. And I listened to all his songs and I was like, I don't hear even remotely close to a genius here. But everyone around me believed he was a genius. And I'm like, why? Well, they told me he was a genius. I'm like, no. And then he went back and forth, and he's the ultimate grifter and the ultimate Alex Jones, Candace Owens times a million. That's why maybe why they like him. Because he just found the most crazy thing he could say or do and did it, and it kept him in the news cycle. He pulled the Donald Trump. Even him associating himself with Donald Trump was a Donald Trump move, ironically. And then he ran out of shocking things, so he goes, what's the most controversial thing you could do? He's like, I'm going to become like Kanye became a Nazi, you know? And it kept him in the news and it worked. But now that, the tensions are high and things are going a little weird, and Kanye is now with these Jewish people, these rabbis, these religious figures in the Jewish community saying, I'm sorry, I didn't mean any of that. I'm just schizophrenic and bipolar. So now what? Like, you see what I'm saying? Do people just forget about that and move on? Does he do a Jewish album now? You know what I'm saying? Like, just stop believing the grift. And all these people that are still very critical of Israel, like, I wonder how they're going to react right now. Like, Candace Owens and Nick Fuentes, they're very critical of Israel, and they have praised Kanye in the past. So, very interesting time to live in. Tucker Carlson's going after, I don't know, Ben Shapiro and him are in a fight now. I don't know. Ben Shapiro's kind of old news. He's mad at Tucker for having Nick Fuentes on. And you got Megyn Kelly being like the buffer. Like, all these has-been pundits are like, well, Tucker, how do you feel that Ben is mad at you for having Nick Fuentes on your show? And why did you call Candace Owens? And what does that mean? Like, this is where it gets conflated, when people get their news only from these talking heads and they worship everything these talking heads say. And who knows what's real anymore? I got to tell you that right now. Who knows what's real? But I'm going to tell you, with all this being said, the right wing is split. As I've been saying, Trump is a lame duck, whether you like it or not. And he delivered on zero promises. And everybody that voted for Trump, your life is not better because Trump got in there. And you have to admit that. Nothing has improved. Not one thing. If anything, it's gotten worse. And that one Tucker episode I brought up when he was with Marjorie Taylor Greene, he talked about the 5 pillars of MAGA. Trump is delivering on none of those. The America First stuff, no way. Ending the wars. The wars are only accelerated. And he made Hegseth the Department of War, not Department of Defense. And he's going on TV the other day saying that this is not the time for being calm. He's like, this is the time to ramp shit up and get ready for war. Like, it was all a fraud. It was a grift, and we had been had, and it was because the options were horrendous, For many people, it was the better of the two, and I still believe at the time it was. Kamala Harris made no sense. But you have to admit that some people probably have a little buyer's remorse. The left has some momentum now. I'm going to give you that. Like I said, I don't have allegiance to either side. I only go by policy and values and stances at the current moment because they're ever changing in today's climate. But the left has some momentum now. If this was a boxing match, Trump's like cut, like the right is cut. They're hurt. It's like Rocky IV with the Russian. It's like now it's time to attack. But the only problem is they don't stand for anything. They have no policy. They have no real plan. Their only plan is we hate Trump and we're not Trump, and then people vote for that, but they don't have any plan. Zoran's the only one with kind of a plan, and he's just saying the quiet part out loud. It's that we want full socialism. We want universal basic income. We want equal distribution of wealth. We want the rich to pay for everything, and we don't really want to work, and we just want things for free. We want the government to be our parent and provide us everything we need. He's saying the quiet part out loud, and people are kind of getting behind that. And I think people are going to give their freedoms away for that security. If that's their plan to go inevitably communist, I don't think that's going to work either. This is like an ideological war. Who has the best ideology? And unfortunately, Trump's doesn't hold water because it's not happening either. So it's two parties with false promises and an ever-growing, confused and frustrated population of people. If we could all get together on that, we'd probably get a little further. Trump was the master entertainer. The left is the best emotional. They invoke emotion in people. But the last thing that really motivates people, once they get past emotion and entertainment, is money and livelihood. And I think money is the factor that's going to affect the next major election, if there is one. The time for entertainment and memes and who owned who is over. The time for false promises is over. It's who's going to get more money in my pocket because I can't afford shit. And my life is significantly worse. And we're paying you our tax money to make our lives better. And none of you have. That's kind of what's coming, I think. The rich versus the poor is now a huge spectrum. It's now people that don't have health care and Elon Musk being a trillionaire. Now, if you think that's good, sit back and think about it. Now, all this is going to go on, and whether I talk about it or not, I'm not going to affect anything, The only thing I can affect is how good we make Jessup Groundhog Day. That's one little thing I can control. And I could have opinions on everything. I could have an opinion on Donald Trump, and I could also have an opinion on the McDouble. But it's just an opinion. Doesn't mean you should hate me for it, or you have to agree with me for it, or you should love me for it. It's just an opinion. I think we all have them. I think it's better if we all start voicing them and you hear more of them from many different people, from many different walks of life and many different perspectives, and let the best idea win. But what do I know? I'm just a cowboy in the basement. But that's a little life recap for you, a little bit of obscurity, slipping into the obscurity of life. Tom Brady with the clone dog, Sweeney being somehow responsible for the culture war, and Zoran Mamdani. Congrats on your win as the New York mayor. I hope you do well. Wish you well. I'll be back next week as always. I'm going to go get a nap in and enjoy my Sunday. I hope to do nothing. Just relax and do nothing. That's all you can ask for, right? And if you can do nothing, please do it while you can, before life gets even weirder. This show is brought to you in part by Jack's Pub and Eatery, Three Saints Barbershop, located in historic downtown Jessup, Pennsylvania. Tusk, Scranton, and Picardo Jewelers. I am Cat Matthews. This is Midnight Therapy. As always, stay curious, my friends. Good night.